Hello guys and welcome to my channel. My name is Kiki and it is time to make crafting fun. DIY number 1.
To make our sled, what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna leave you in the description below the measurements to all of those pieces of stir stick. But after you have them cut, we're gonna place the 45-degree angle next to a 22-degree angle, and we're gonna add another one of those 22-degree angles, and we're gonna add a flat one and another flat one from the bigger ones, and another 22-degree angle, another 22, and the last 45-degree angle piece. Then we're gonna grab the shorter flat ones, and those would be the stability or the base. That's the name for that. The base for our sled. And we're gonna add wood glue to them, and we're gonna stick them to our stir sticks, the ones that we have in the bottom. Then we're gonna grab our staple gun and we're gonna staple each and every one of them to secure them while we are waiting for that glue to dry. And this will give it a lot more stability, as you can see here. Now we're gonna grab our cubes, we're gonna add glue, wood glue, and we're gonna glue those to the base, like that. After we finish with that, I'm gonna come back with the legs, and those are the complete stir sticks. And with those complete stir sticks, what we're gonna do is we're gonna place the handles to the front of our sled, and we're gonna glue them by adding wood glue to our cubes and 2 staples, one on each. Then when we have them, we're gonna let that dry. But first I'm gonna cut this hanger like that and just sand it, and add a handle that we have left over from the project, from the cutting, to our sticks like this. And then we're gonna staple, and I'm having issues to staple it but I stapled it. Now we're gonna take this hanger, add some hot glue, glue it over there, and staple it to the handle that we used. Now we let it dry really nice, and we're gonna come back with antique wax and a sponge brush, and we're gonna paint that top with that beautiful antique wax to make this look like a vintage sled. We're gonna paint it all over just like this, and I'm gonna continue painting until I have covered everything off the top. Then I'm gonna flip it over, and I'm gonna paint the bottom of those stir sticks that we just painted in that color, antique wax, and we're gonna paint them. Now, as you can see, I painted those, and I'm gonna come back with crimson to paint the legs and the cubes from the base. Now, that's what I'm doing. I'm just painting those legs really nicely with that red, beautiful red that it's crimson from Waverly. And I'm painting my cubes, and I'm painting my legs on the underside of my leg. Let me show you. We need to paint also the underside of that leg. If you want to paint this before, you can do so, but I wouldn't recommend it because glue doesn't stick to paint. Now I'm going to take black paint and a dowel, and I'm going to make the look of if it has nails on it. And for that, as you can see, I'm just making dots to the stapled parts of the base to make it look like this. Is how our sled turned out, and look at that. It's looking so cute. Now we have to decorate it, right? Let's make that.
DIY number 2.
Our first project, what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove this Halloween background that we have on this frame. You can use a Dollar Tree or maybe some type of frame. This is a canvas insert, wooden insert. Now I'm gonna take some poster board. I'm gonna take one of them and I'm gonna take it out of the packaging so I can cover it with this buffalo check ribbon. And I'm gonna cut it, and this is something that I just missed a little bit. So cut the first one, but don't cut the second one, because you're gonna want them to look like it's one piece. So you attach your first piece, and then while it is on the spool, you're going to attach it to your poster board, because as you can see, I had to rip it off, and then I got a space that I don't have any ribbon on it. So I'm just gonna fix that, adding a little bit more of that ribbon, but the best way is not to do that. So now I'm gonna add some glue to my frame, and I'm gonna glue the back to my frame. Then I'm gonna secure it really nicely, and I'm gonna bring my Let It Snow sign to paint it. But first I'm gonna remove that twine and cover that little hole over there. And I'm using wood filler to cover it. You can use spackling, you can use whatever you want to cover it, even a little bit of hot glue. Now that I sanded it, I'm gonna take Waverly chalk paint in white, and I'm gonna paint all of my letters in that beautiful white color. And as you can see, now we don't have the little hole on top. So we're gonna paint it completely like this. And then I'm gonna come back for that snowflake. And that snowflake, I want to paint it black and add a little bit of sparkle to it. So let's paint it black and let it dry completely, because yeah, I know I'm impatient and sometimes I don't let my things dry. So we're gonna paint it and let it dry for the first time ever. Then when we finish and it's really dried, we're gonna come back, add our glue, and as you saw in the beginning, it's Elmer's glue. You can use Mod Podge if you want, but I'm gonna use Elmer's glue. And somehow I just lost the footage for me applying the glue, but you're gonna paint it just like we did with the black paint. Oh, you see, I had a little bit of that footage. Now I'm gonna apply my glitter, shake it really nicely, and then we're gonna glue our sign to the backdrop. And that will be it. We apply a generous amount of hot glue, stick it in there, and that's it.
If you like modern farmhouse, boho decor, and lots of silly jokes, that's what I do here. So subscribe and click on the bell so you can get notified every time I upload a new video. Also, hit the thumbs up if you like this one, and share this video with a friend, because that really helps to support my channel. Here's my social media. Go and check me out. DIY number 3.
These are the supplies for our beautiful gifts. Now let's get started. First, we're gonna take our foam like that, and we're gonna grab our spackle, and we're gonna start spackling our foam. Yeah, I said spackling our foam, because we wanna create some sort of texture similar to the wood texture, because we're using foam instead of wood to make them. So we're gonna spackle them just by running our hand all around our piece like you see me doing here. And now we're gonna do the same to the sides. Never forget those sides, because it's gonna look like foam if you don't do that. And now I'm gonna use black paint. Yeah, I know it's Christmas, but this black paint, instead of red, it's gonna help us make it look like birch. That's the look that I'm going for here. And we're gonna dry brush like you see me here all of our pieces. That's how they look. And now I'm gonna take my mineral chalk paint from Waverly, and I'm gonna give it a good dry brush all over our 3 beautiful pieces of foam, because right now they are foam, but they will become beautiful presents. So we're gonna give it a good dry brush like that to all of them, because that helps a lot with the effect we're looking for. And then after we finish with that, we're gonna take white paint, and that's gonna make all the difference in those pieces. Look, here I have my white paint, and now I'm just pouring some of that
And this is not a dry brushing effect. We're gonna take a little bit more and we're gonna brush it around our piece. And as you can see, it's just making it look beautiful. I think that looks like birch. And now I'm taking that ribbon I found at Walmart and some greenery I had at home, that one, and my hot glue gun with glue sticks and my scissors, and I'm gonna wrap my presents like they were real. We're gonna cut some ribbon and we're gonna glue that to the back like that, and we're gonna glue it, and then we're gonna come and just crisscross that ribbon and glue it again. Now we flip it and we're gonna start playing around with our greenery, and I'm gonna add them. First I have to grab that pine cone and those leaves, and then we're gonna move on to hot gluing all of that. Lots of hot glue. You need lots of hot glue so that sticks there and stays there. And we're gonna add all of those leaves and greenery so we can add our berries on that corner like that. And we're gonna add our pine cone in the center, and it looks so beautiful. I love that. Now we're gonna repeat the same steps on our other presents, and I'm gonna show you one more time how we did the ribbon thingy to wrap it like a present, because I'm gonna add different greenery on all of them, so they're gonna look different but cohesive. The same but different. And we're gonna glue our greenery and add our leaves. After that, as you can see, I'm using different type of greenery for this one, and add our leaves like that, and then add our pine cone to the center and some berries, but I have two smaller pine cones like those, and they look so cute. Look at that. And now I add my berries, and that's it. If you see something that you like here and you want to become a member of my family, I would love for you to join our family. And you just have to subscribe. And I love to make farmhouse and boho decor, and I like to make my home beautiful on a budget. So if I can reuse, recycle, and remake something beautiful, I'm gonna do it without spending. So if you like that, join my family, turn on those notifications, and join the fun of making our homes beautiful. And now, as you can see, I'm adding some different decor to my beautiful piece. And I'm adding my berries and all of that, and another pine cone, and that's the bigger one, and it looks beautiful. Now I'm gonna make bases for those using the stir sticks, and then I'm gonna glue a piece of stir stick to the bottom of my present, and we're gonna repeat that to each and every single one of our presents, and that will be it. We will have beautiful decor for Christmas. And this is how they turned out. As you can see, we have the beautiful paint job and also the beautiful greenery and the ribbon. I love it. It's beautiful. DIY number 4. And we're gonna make candles. Yeah, with this. 2 pieces of dowels and 2 handles from stir sticks. And the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sand those sides, both of them. And I'm also gonna sand the bottom part of the handle that
I cut it previously. And then after that, I'm gonna take my Dremel or tool and I'm gonna make a hole in the top of my dowel like this. I'm just drilling a hole like that so I can get a wick a little bit later. Now I'm repeating the same steps on the other dowel. And then we're gonna move on to making our candles. And for that, I'm using hot glue to create the drips, those wax drips. And I'm just using hot glue and I'm gonna pile it up on top of each other. And as you can see, I'm just playing around with them so I get the drips that I want. And I'm just adding a little bit more here and there, adding more just to make it like it has a couple of layers of dripping, or we just lit our candles a couple of times. Now I'm adding a little bit of that hot glue in the top to make it look like a burnt candle. And like that, I'm gonna keep on adding until I have reached the shape that I want. And I'm gonna repeat the same to the other one like that. Then I'm gonna take my candles when they are dry. I'm adding a little bit of extra touches because I told you I'm extra. So I'm adding a little bit more, let that dry, and then I'm gonna come back with cashew from Waverly and I'm gonna paint them completely with that cashew chalk paint. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give it a good coat like this and we're gonna paint it all over, just making sure that we paint that hot glue that we have on the top because it's a little bit hard sometimes to get it painted, but chalk paint always does the trick. So go ahead and give it a good coat, paint it completely, paint both of them if you're making two, and let it dry. Then we're gonna take our dried candles and we're gonna bring our white chalk paint from Waverly and we're gonna give it a good dry brush all around. And let me show you, I'm using the oldest brush that I have to give that dry brush because I couldn't find my new one. So I'm gonna give it a good dry brush on the glue or wax drips and I'm gonna give a good dry brush to the candle itself like this so we can cover it completely and it looks beautiful like an actual candle. So I'm gonna do that to this one and the other one too. And we have them here, let it dry. And I'm taking this canning that I have and I'm gonna cut a piece so I can roll it around my candle like this. And now I'm gonna cut two pieces of those and I'm gonna paint them in black paint. But first I'm gonna cut a piece like this so we can make something cute to handle or a handle. And now I'm just gluing them like this, putting one of those clamps over there. And after that, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna paint the handle and those pieces of canning completely. And I'm painting my handles like that. Then I'm gonna move on to my canning pieces like this. And I'm gonna paint those and I'm gonna also paint those loops that you see on the corner over there. Let me show you these ones. We're gonna paint those on the inside, outside, and sides because we want it to look completely black. So cover it completely on that black paint really well so you have a beautiful handle. Now I'm gonna take the candle and I'm gonna take that piece that we're gonna wrap around and I'm gonna add a little bit of hot glue over here and then I'm gonna glue that piece over there. Let me just add the hot glue. And then we're gonna add hot glue all around and just roll it around. I'm sorry I was out of frame, I didn't know. But I'm gonna roll it around, add a little bit of hot glue over here and just press it down like that. Hold it there until it dries and then bring it back so you can assemble your candle. And for that, we're gonna just hot glue the candle to the round part of the handle like that. And then that cute handle thingy that we made, we're gonna glue it on the back. Just put some clamps over there and bring one skewer so you can make a wick. And for that, I'm just cutting the skewer and then I'm gonna glue it with hot glue like this. And then we're gonna make the flame. And for the flame, I'm using this stencil paper that I got from Walmart. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut it like this on a leafy kind of shape like that. And then I'm gonna bring some red and yellow, and I'm gonna mix them together so I can make it look like a flame. So I'm adding a little bit of red, and then I'm adding lots of yellow that I'm mixing with that red, like that, to make a beautiful, well, a flame. And I'm gonna repeat that too with the other one, like that, and then I'm gonna paint the wick that it's not showing on the frame. And now that it is painted and dry, I'm gonna glue that flame to our wick, and that's it. So cute. And here you can see them together. They are looking beautiful. Let me know in the comments below what you think about those beautiful candles, because I think I'm gonna make lots more.
DIY number 5.
First, we're gonna assemble our base by adding hot glue and the dowel, the bigger one, to our base. And now we're adding those smaller dowels to the sides of our bigger dowel. I don't know if I'm explaining myself with that, but as you can see here, I'm just gluing them to the sides like that. And now I'm gonna add the styrofoam ball to the end of the dowel, to both of them. And I'm having some issues with my glue gun, as you can see there. And after I get some hot glue to my styrofoam ball, I add it to one of the ends, and then we're gonna take that wood piece and cut it to the size of our lantern, and we're gonna glue it on the top part with lots of glue. But you should use some E6000 first. Now I'm spray painting it, and while that dries, I'm gonna flock those picks you see there using white paint from Walmart, the apple barrel white paint. And I'm flocking all of that, including the pine cones, the pine that you see there, I think that's greenery. And I'm gonna flock also the berries. Just like that, we flock everything because I want that snowy look on my cute lantern. And now I'm flocking the berries, something simple, just some paint. And now we're gonna take that and our lantern, and we're gonna add our pick to our lantern and our bow. For that, I'm gonna use just one because it was too much, 2 of those picks. So I'm taking one of those like that, and I'm gonna spread it. Okay, I'm gonna spread it like that and hang it using the bigger dowel and the smaller dowels as some support. And now I'm tying my pipe cleaner to the back, and I'm gonna fluff that bow, and that will be it. We add our lantern to the top. I'm not gluing it because I want to be able to turn it on and off, and that will be it. As soon as we fluff it, we will have our lantern.
DIY number 6.
First, we're gonna take our cardboard circle and we're gonna paint it with the acrylic black paint. And we're doing this to get it covered in the top and the outer rim and also on the bottom. And we're doing it so we can give it the top hat look to our snowman top hat. Tree topper. So we're gonna continue painting until we cover everything. And I got this idea from my beautiful friend Jenny and Diane from Decor Easy. Jenny did a beautiful set of Christmas tree toppers that I knew I had to recreate because I just love them. They were so beautiful, and I'm trying to make one as beautiful as hers, but I know I'm not gonna do that because she's so talented. But I'm gonna continue painting my circle and try to get the best that I can. Trying to give it as always. So we're gonna continue painting it. And now I'm painting the bottom of my circle. And you know me, I'm not the most patient person ever. So I will say that I would let it dry, but you know that it won't be completely dry when I come back to work on it. So we're gonna paint it completely and we're gonna let it dry. So do as I say, never as I do. So we continue painting. We finish that up. Just like that. We set it aside and let it dry completely. And now I'm taking my planter that I added this piece of cardboard to make it a little bit sturdier. If you can find a planter that's a lot more sturdy than mine, then you don't have to do this part. But I'm painting it because mine has a little bit of shine to it and my paint is matte. So I will have that part that is shiny and I will have the part that is matte on the bottom, and I thought that wasn't going to look so cute. So I decided to give a quick coat of paint to my planter. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm painting it, and now as I said, it's not dry, but I need to glue it. So I'm gonna add a little bit of hot glue on the lip of the planter. And I'm going to press it inside the inner circle. And I did that by just tracing my planter on the outside and cutting the inner circle of my circle. Yeah, I said circle twice. With that measurement. So now I can fit my planter inside the cardboard. And for that, I'm adding hot glue and pushing it a little bit to the inside of the cardboard. Like you can see here, I'm just trying to go slowly so you can see all the process. And as you can see, I'm pushing it in little by little, adding a little bit of hot glue and pushing it in to get it really nicely. Now I'm just going all around my planter after I finish with this. I'm gonna go all around my planter, adding a bead of hot glue so I can get a better hold between my planter and my cardboard. I want to make sure that that cardboard isn't going anywhere because we need that to stay, especially as we are using it as a tree topper. So we need that to last all Christmas long, and we have the longest Christmas ever here in Puerto Rico. Yeah, we have like 2 months of Christmas. So it has to last at least 2 months. Now we let it dry and come back to decorate. Now it's not dry because you know me, I can't wait for that paint to dry, but I'm taking the strip of poster board that I have and I'm gonna glue it in the top to cover those holes that the planter has. Just like that, I glue the center, and that center is just the center of my planter. And then I'm going to add hot glue to the side and I'm going to glue it to my planter. Just like that, I will repeat the same process in the other side. And you will see that I didn't add enough glue. So I will add a little bit of hot glue, extra hot glue, so it glues really nicely. So I'm going to continue gluing it just like that until I glue everything. Like so. And now that we have it, we're gonna start decorating. Yeah, I know it haven't dried, but I want to decorate it. Now I'm adding my ribbon, and I'm gonna add a strip of ribbon all around the base of my hat. So I'm gonna cut a piece, and I'm gonna start gluing it in the back because we don't want those pieces to show. And as you know, this is a circle, so we have to pull the ribbon so it gets really tight around the shape of our planter. And right now I'm just doing that. I will unglue that piece of the ribbon and I'm gonna glue it again, and I'm gonna do the same with the other side, but I'm folding the excess. And now I'm gonna add hot glue and pull really tightly so I can glue it tight to my planter so it looks like an actual top hat. And then I'm gonna come back, with my pick, and I wanted to take it apart, but this was hard. I bought that pick like 2 years ago from Walgreens, and it's so awesomely made that I couldn't take it apart. So what I decided is I'm gonna cut the base, and I'm trying to bend it, but it won't work because it's really good quality. Good quality wire on there. So I'm just cutting it with my wire cutters, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna glue it, bend it a little bit so I can place it where I want it, and then I'm gonna add hot glue in the back of my pick like that, and I'm gonna glue that to my top hat. It's not mine, it's a snowman top hat. Yep, I stole the snowman's top hat and put it on my tree. Yeah, this is weird. And now I'm taking last year's bow and I'm removing the legs for that bow from that, and I glue those legs, and then I'm adding my bow to the top hat. And then I'm gonna give it a good fluff when it glues, because I'm having some issues gluing it. It took forever. I don't know if it was the pick or it was the ribbon or the pipe cleaner, but something wasn't gluing over there. And after I glue that, I'm gonna give a good fluff to my bow, and I'm gonna glue the pieces that I need to go up or down. I'm just gonna place them with a little bit of hot glue to my hat so they stay there where I want them. And as you can see, I'm holding it down while fluffing because it took a long time for this to dry and to set what I wanted. So I don't want to mess the placement of my bow. So I'm going to fluff it, and that's it. We have a beautiful topper. Look at that. And this is how my beautiful topper turned out. Look at that. It's looking so beautiful on my newly flocked tree. And I love how the bow turned out. Look at that. Here's the side of it. The pick and the bow are looking beautiful. Who would have thought that that bow is from last year?
DIY number 7.
DIY number 3, we're going to take these boxes from Dollar Tree, and those are the insides or the inserts of those boxes and the big box. And we have 2 of those inserts and 1 big box. And what I'm doing is I'm just taking more of that antique wax and I'm just staining them really well all around, all of them. The only thing I'm not going to stain is the inside of our boxes, but everything else will be stained. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to let them dry really well. And as I told you, antique wax needs a little bit more time to dry if you want the decal to stick to it. So let's just stain this really well, stain all of them like this, covering all of our sides like that. And after we finish, I gave a second coat on that one. But after we finish, we're gonna let this dry for about an hour and a half, just to make sure they are really dry so we can move on to the next step. Let me finish with this so I can show you. Now we have them here. I'm gonna let them dry, and they are dried, and I'm gonna take some decals that I made on my Cricut. And as I told you, you can use stencils, you can use stickers, you can hand draw this, you can do anything you want. I made decals because it was a lot easier. But now I'm gonna add an O, and this one looks like a beautiful ornament. I'm so in love with that O. And then I'm gonna peel off that transfer tape that I told you it's giving me a hard time. And then we're gonna move on to adding a J. And I think you know by now what we're making over here, but we're making a beautiful joy sign. And now I'm just removing the decal like this, and I'm gonna add it over here. And then I'm gonna remove the transfer tape so you can see it. So cute. Now we're gonna add that Y, and after we have that, we have a beautiful joy. And we are gonna add it over here, and look at that, they are so cute. That font is super cute. Then I'm gonna remove the transfer tape like that. After the struggle, you know. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna glue them together like this. And for that, I'm gonna use my hot glue. And I'm gonna add it like this. Just a little bit of hot glue over there. Glue them together, add one of those clamps, and that's it. Now I added a couple of candles on top of them, and they are looking so cute. This joy sign is the cutest thing ever. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this one, because you know me, I'm biased.
DIY number 8.
Now we're gonna take different pieces of wood, and we also have popsicle sticks, and we have stir sticks, pieces of stir sticks. And as you can see, I cut them in different sizes and angles. You can do whatever you want and however you want. You can make your houses different than mine, or you can just add 45-degree angles to make this type of house. And we're gonna start adding pieces of stir stick that I cut to our roof. And for that, as you can see, I'm using my hot glue gun, adding lots of hot glue, and then adding the pieces of stir stick. And now we're gonna move on to another house that I cut using the same 45-degree angle. And I'm adding popsicle sticks. As you can see, I'm leaving a little bit more to the front so it looks like an actual ceiling. And we're gonna continue adding them until we cover all of it. And we're gonna add and make different type of houses. If you like what you see here and you like modern farmhouse and boho decor, hit that subscribe button, because we are gonna bring lots of those and also seasonal decor. And I'm about to start with my fall decor, and I'm so excited. And now I'm gonna continue adding another row of those popsicle sticks, and I'm gonna cut the excess and move on to my other house. And I'm using just bigger popsicle sticks, gluing them, pieces of them, and adding my roof. For this, you can use any leftover wood you have at home, and that's awesome, because we always have a little bit of stir sticks, popsicle sticks, etc. Now I'm just using pieces of stir sticks to make the bases of my homes. And as you can see, I'm just gluing them. You can glue them any way you want them, but those are the spacings that I just decided. Now I'm adding doors to my homes, and for that I'm using popsicle sticks, and I'm just cutting pieces of them and gluing them to my homes. And now I'm gonna make a barn door for this one, and for that I'm using those skinny sticks from Walmart, and I'm cutting pieces of them, and I'm gonna cut 3 pieces of those. And then after I cut that, I'm gonna use those and measure another one so I can get another stir stick crust, like crisscross, yeah, something like that. And I'm gonna start gluing them to my house like that, and then I will add the top one, and that will be it. Then we're gonna move on to adding our chimneys, and I'm so in love with those. I just used some of the handles from the sponge brushes. I saved those and I cut them on a 45-degree angle, and now I'm gluing them just like that. They look so cute. And now we're gonna move on to painting, and I'm using hazelnut from Waverly, and we're gonna give it a good coat of hazelnut all around our houses. Now I'm gonna let you enjoy the painting process. After we paint them and let them dry, I'm going to use burnt umber mixed with water so I can make the burnt sides of a gingerbread cookie. You know that when you put them in the oven, you will not have an even color. You will have like burnt sides and some things like that. So I'm just doing that same effect
to my paint. And for that, I'm using a paintbrush, just smudging some of that paint there, and then I'm just using my finger to like no, it's not that word, like brush it all around, and it gives you like an inked effect. And now I'm gonna use white to make our windows. And as you can see, I can't decide where I'm gonna start. And now I'm making my windows, and I'm making all the details in white. Cute round window on the top. And now that I have them, I'm gonna add a doorknob. Now that they are dried and painted, we're going to start adding decor to our houses, and I'm using small Christmas trees, pine cones, couple of snowflakes. Also, I'm using some pipe cleaners, and now I have encountered an issue. Last week I have an issue with the power, and we lost power for like 4 hours, and I was crafting as always. And my hot glue gun died, and now I'm just touching her to see if she's hot, and she's not heating up. So I'm so sad I lost her. Those were 12 wonderful years she gave me. But now, using my mom's, I'm gonna start gluing my thingies to my houses, and you will see a new hot glue gun soon enough. And I'm gonna continue adding. You can add anything you want to your houses, but I'm just decorating them with these things I had at home. And now I'm using spackling to make faux snow, and as you can see, I'm struggling with it. But I fixed that one, and I also got a grip on how to add it so it looks like frosting from a gingerbread house. So that's why I'm just trying to use the spackling so it looks just like royal icing. And we're gonna continue adding until we have covered all the places that it should have the frosting. Just like that. And we can use our fingers, different tips for our bag, or we can use the spoon. Anything you have at hand, it will work. And you continue adding until you finish with them. Now let me show you this beauty, and I'm gonna add that in for these ones to arrive so I can add them to the bare spots of my houses. And this is how they turned out. As you can see, we have a mini village over here, and this is how they are looking. I'm gonna give you a closer look on each and every single one of them. I'm so in love with these houses. They are so cute. Look at them. The glitter that I added with the spray paint just made them look perfect. Look at that. It's the cutest thing ever. They look like gingerbread houses. So cute. If you want to buy me some crafting supplies, you will find this link in the description box down below. You don't have to do that. You can support your favorite creator by watching, sharing, and liking their videos. But if you want to buy me crafting supplies, this link, you will find it in the description box down below, and you will get a shout out in my channel. DIY number 9. First, we're going to take our antique wax and that wood thingy that looks like a palette that you can find at Walmart. I don't know how it's called, but it looks like a palette, and you can find it at Walmart. And we're gonna give it a nice thin coat of our antique wax. We're only gonna paint the top of our sign. You don't have to paint the beams on the bottom part. As you can see, they show a little bit, but we want them to stay in that color because that will match something we're gonna add a little bit later. So we're gonna cover completely and let it dry completely so we can move on to our next step. Now that we have it dry, we're gonna take this piece that you see there, and that's what we're gonna add later. And now I'm gonna stencil that reindeer you see there, and I lost the footage, but I just stenciled that there. And now I'm gonna start stenciling days until Christmas. And I found this beautiful sign. I got inspired by Unicorn Designs.
Her name is Sammy, and you would love her channel, so I'm gonna leave you in the description box down below a link for her channel because you will love. She makes beautiful signs. I got inspired by one she made, and I'm making it a little bit different, but she made something like that. And now I'm stenciling those letters, and after I stencil those, I'm gonna move on to handwriting, and I'm gonna write the word Christmas because I want to use a different font. I'm just taking off everything that shouldn't be there, just stains of the white paint, and now I'm gonna start writing Christmas. And if you can hear some dogs in the background, it's because they are acting up today. None of those are mine. Those are my neighbor's dogs. So we're gonna add the Christmas, and as you saw, my son just wants me to change his cartoons. That's why you saw his hand and the remote. And we're gonna paint the Christmas words really nicely. Just take your time, and after we finish that, we're gonna move on to where we're gonna put our numbers. I think they are just feeling the Christmas spirit. They are having fun with our DIY today. And now we're gonna move on to that circle, and as you can see, I have an eye hook on the top. I had hoped for that, so that's why I didn't film. And I'm gonna take that chalkboard contact paper that my son had a lot of fun with it, and I'm just tracing a circle using my antique wax. Now I'm gonna cut that circle, and I'm gonna glue that to my wooden circle cutout, something like that. And I'm gonna glue that there, and it looks like an oval, so I'm gonna fix it. And now that it's fixed, we're gonna use white paint to write 155 days because that's what's left for Christmas. But you can wipe that off and change it whenever you need. I don't have chalk, so that's why I didn't use that. Now I put that on my sign, and I'm fixing my letters because I don't want those spaces, and that will be it. After that, you will have a beautiful sign.
DIY number 10, our last one.
First, we're gonna take this ladder that I have the DIY in the description box and also in a card over here, and we're gonna take it all apart. We're going only to take the ladder, and I'm having some issues with that rope, but I'm gonna start painting with that deep red, and then I will realize that I can cut them because I don't need them. So after that, I'm gonna cut them, and I'm gonna remove them from the ladder. Just like that, and you're gonna see me struggle because this is a challenge on a challenge because of my finger. And now we're gonna completely cover it with that deep red that I love. It looks beautiful, and we're gonna cover it completely. I'm gonna give it 3 coats because of the paint that it has. It was showing, and I don't want any of that paint to show. So I'm gonna cover it completely, give it those 3 coats, and let it dry. And now I'm taking the jar, the mason jar, and I'm gonna paint it in white, just like that, completely covered in white. You can find those at Walmart on the wood cutout section they have. They are like 97 cents. Get yourself one of those because they are wonderful for crafting. Cover it completely in white. And then we're gonna move on to painting the sides. It has like little edge. You're gonna see it that I'm gonna show you better now that I'm painting it. That edge that has there, we're gonna paint it completely in that deep red that you used
for the ladder. And after we finish that, we're gonna paint our letters to our jar. And it's looking so cute. Now we're gonna write on there, I believe in Santa. Because I do believe, and I'm trying to behave even though I shouldn't be crafting, but don't let him know that. And we're gonna completely paint those words, and that will be it for our jar. If you like what you see here and you would like to become a member of my family, I would love to have you here, because I do this type of DIYs and also boho and modern farmhouse decor. So if that's what you like, hit the subscribe button. Now, let's continue. We're gonna take our ladder, and I'm gonna take this I made last year for a centerpiece, and I'm gonna disassemble it almost completely. Those are 2 branches I found at Walmart and some pieces of greenery and also 2 pine cones. Now I'm taking some of that wire and using the pliers, and yes, I'm taking a lot of care and I'm being careful with them because they are grounded for what they did to my finger. So we're gonna tie them together really nicely, and after we tie them together, we're gonna grab our bow and we're gonna fluff our bow really nicely. And as you can see, I'm playing around with the greenery. And now I'm taking my bow and I'm fluffing, so fluff, fluff, fluff until you have a beautiful bow. Just like that. And then we're gonna attach our bow to our greenery, and we have a swag. In that swag, we are gonna attach it to the corner of our ladder. Like that, and as you can see, I have some wet paint over there. And we're gonna fluff again, and now we're gonna hot glue our little jar. And that will be it. You will have a beautiful ladder. And this is how they turned out. As you can see, we have the beautiful sign over here. And this is how it's looking. I love it. It's so cute. You can add a bow on top, but I decided to keep it like that because I still don't know which ribbons I will be using for Christmas, so I left it like that. And this is how it's looking. Now we're gonna see our beautiful elf on the shelf ladder. And now let me show you that beauty. I love this. This is so cute. I don't know if I'm gonna put it on my Christmas tree or where, but I love it.